by the two umpires to be chosen. They certainly do go through a very, very hectic week. They are not informed till late in the week, and of course it's their biggest day of the year as well as the players. And so we must say, on behalf of the football public, I know that the fans here, and no doubt they'll do it again today, they love to give the man in white what we call in Australia a traditional bagging. Because in the public's eye, the man in white, the umpire, is very rarely right. But once again, our congratulations go to those two gentlemen, and we certainly wish them well for what should be a great final. It's interesting to look back before we take a closer look at the two teams, just what they've done in the past couple of years. We first saw them years ago in a grand final in Hawthorn, and it was then a very, very Hawthorn side who came out and rewrote the record book with a barnstorming win over Essendon. From that grand final, Essendon coach Kevin Sheedy has taken it upon himself to repair the very, very severe damage that was done. And he made amends last year on this turf, on this day. A wonderful victory to the Bombers, their first premiership since the mid-60s. But now, today, they're trying to do something that hasn't been done for a side for, again, a number of years. And that is to win back-to-back premierships. The Essendon Bombers have been acknowledged throughout the year as undoubtedly the best team in the competition. They did have several hiccups. One, in fact, was the grand final of the night competition. On that occasion, Hawthorn proved successful. So, the Hawks say in their own words, we know that the Bombers can be beaten, and we hope to do it today. Well, let's go once again back to our Master of Ceremonies, Ron Casey.
Ladies and gentlemen, back to Melbourne from the country and western capital of the world, Nashville, Tennessee. As your special guest, would you welcome one of Australia's great artists as she presents on this grand final day in 1958, our country's most loved bush folk song. Would you welcome Australia's own Miss Diana Trask.
Thank you so much. I can't tell you what this means to me, ladies and gentlemen, because I've sat up there in those stands as a little kid, and this is really a very special dream come true. And thank you so much for inviting me home. Thank you. Thank you. Once a jolly swagman down by the Billabong, under the shade of a coolabah tree, and he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled. You come a-waltzing Matilda with me. Down came a jumbuck, that's a sheep, to drink at the Billabong. Up jumped the swagman and grabbed him with glee, and he sang as he stowed that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You come a-waltzing Matilda with me. Well, up rode the squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Down came the troopers, 1, 2, 3. Where's that jolly jumbuck you got in your tucker bag? You'll come waltzing Matilda with me. Well, up jumped the swagman, sprang into the Billabong. You'll never get me alive, said he, and his ghost may be heard as you walk by the Billabong. You come a-waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing
100,000 people giving Diana Trask possibly the greatest live ovation she's had in her very successful variety of lifetime show business. Well, there's a sudden boo and a sudden calm that's come over the ground because everyone can sense that the two sides are about to come out on the ground. And those followers of Hawthorn, it's the booing, feeling that Essendon may be first out on the ground. For the followers of Essendon, it's the other way round. Well, one man who hasn't felt the excitement of being on the MCG ground prior to a grand final before is one of our on-field reporters in Peter Donegan. And Pete, you can hear the noise around us at the moment. What do you think?
Sandy, this is one of the great moments in sport, I'm sure. For the players, I just can't imagine what they're feeling at the moment, because to be out here on the ground and to look all around us with over 100,000 people is just electrifying. You can feel it down here, and at 2:30 it's going to be great.
Thank you, Peter. Well, our commentary team is ready. It's headed by Peter Landy. Peter, good afternoon.
Thank you, Sandy, and a very good afternoon to you, and a very good afternoon to Peter Donegan. Good afternoon to Lou Richards, and good afternoon to triple Brownlow medalist Bob Sculpin.
Good afternoon, Pete.
Gentlemen, it's going to be a great day. It always is, the VFL Grand Final. Before we go into what Essendon might do, we know what Hawthorn is going to do, a surprise there, but we'll look at the teams shortly. Hawthorn are playing in their 9th Grand Final. Essendon, we're in the Essendon rooms at the moment, are playing in their 26th. Hawthorn have won 5, Essendon have won 13. If Essendon win this afternoon, they will equal the VFL record of Carlton. The two teams have met 5 times in a final. It's the 3rd time they've met in the grand final, 3 years in succession, and that's the first time that has happened in VFL history since the Page system of finals was introduced in 1931. The Hawthorn banner goes up, and it salutes their captain Lee Matthews, who today is playing his last game. The two sides have met 36 times since 1970, Hawthorn holding an advantage of 21 to 15. So the stage is set for what I think is going to be a memorable contest. Hawthorn taking out the reserves match here this afternoon, and that will certainly give the side a great boost as they prepare to tackle Essendon for the 3rd year in succession. The Bombers won in 1984, Hawthorn won in 83. Hawthorn, the first side out onto the MCG for the 1985 Grand Final. Bob Sculpin, how do you see the two sides matching up?
Well, I think you've got to look at Essendon and say, well, they've won 19 out of 22 games coming into the finals. They truly beat Essendon in the final, and Essendon, they truly beat Hawthorn, I should say, and they, they certainly deserve to be a raging hot favourite. But I've got a feeling that Hawthorn, they've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. It wouldn't be the first time that the underdogs got up.
Well, I'll go along with that, Bob. Of course, grand finals are certainly different to any other game, Peter, and I've seen many grand finals, played in a couple, but I still get the lump in the throat and the tear in the eye when they run into the ground.
There's nothing like it, Lou.
Essendon, as Bob said, only lost 3 matches during the course of 1985, and that truly in itself was a splendid effort under the coaching of Kevin Sheedy. They are the team to beat, the hottest favourite for many, many years in the VFL competition. And we don't know who their side is going to be, Bob, but they did name 5 players on the bench. Looking through the rooms there,
Alan Ezard was there.
Ezard was warming up.
There he is with Kevin Sheedy now.
Who do you think will be on the bench?
I think they'll play Hurd, so I'm inclined to think that Ezard and Hurd will make up the 20 players.
Well, that room in there, Pete, would be unbelievable to be in that room getting ready to go into the ground. Hawthorn are out there, of course.
The hardest part, job that Sheedy would have had all year, would have been telling which 3 players that they were not going to be there.
That's right, that'll be because they're so strong and they've been such versatile side. But that feeling they're going through now, you could just imagine, Pete and Bob, the adrenaline running through the veins of those players, and you can see them going through the pre-match exercises there, and by golly, they're raring to go, aren't they?
Yes, and Lou, if you needed motivation at this stage of the game, then there must be something wrong with you, because
that's right.
Both sides must be so G'd up at the moment. I don't think that anything the coach said would, really matter in many respects. I think the players would be above the moon, so to speak.
I think the coach's job, Peter, is to bring them back to earth again, to say, OK,
that's
just
exactly
take your
right.
time and calm down and don't do anything rash when you get onto the ground, because once the ball is bounced, it's no different to an ordinary game, but it's the build-up before the game that gets these tempers a bit frayed. and I think we could see a pretty rugged game for the first 10 or 15 minutes.
Yes, and a few mistakes usually occur in the first 10 minutes of the grand final. Bob Skilton, the selection of David O'Halloran for Hawthorn was, to my way of thinking, amazing. He hasn't played a senior game this year. What would be the thought in the Hawthorn Match Committee mind bringing O'Halloran into the side?
I think it would have been a case of that they believed in the semi-final that they lacked a bit of aggression, and David O'Halloran does have aggression. He has plenty of courage, and he may just give Hawthorn that little extra bit of aggression. But I do feel sorry for Rodney Eade, because I felt that last week Eade was a wonderful player for Hawthorn, and to be dropped from the side after a performance like that, well, it's just bad luck. But you can only pick 20 players.
Well, I spoke to Don Scott just before we went on air, and Don Scott, the former champion of Hawthorn, suggested that Chris Mew may play at centre-half forward for Hawthorn. It'll be interesting to see if he does.
The best full-back in the competition at half forward?
No, I wouldn't. I'd leave him where he is.
I wouldn't, no, but then again, I think they're worried about their goal-kicking ability, and who knows, if O'Halloran's in the 20, I believe he will play.
Peter, as the Americans say, if it's not broken, don't mend it. I'd leave well alone.
Yes, I go along with that. Hawthorn out on the field, and there is David O'Halloran, number 8, Rubber, as he is affectionately known, playing his first senior game for this year. Here come the Essendon side now. Like Hawthorn, taking the field for the 3rd year in succession in a VFL Grand Final.
Well, Lazard's there, Bob. We've got to pick up the other player that makes up the 20. It'd be interesting to see whether it's Donnell or I think you're inclined to think it'll be her.
I am inclined to think that, Lou, but who would know?
Well, we'll just try and pick
Carey.
Carey is there, yes.
Well, Carey,
they might all be there at this stage, who knows?
Knowing Kevin Sheed will have the 21 players out there. I should imagine he'd do that. And it'll be interesting to see who picks up DP at a minute ago. It possibly would be Brian Wood, because he'd be the most vigorous.
He did a pretty good job against him in the semi-final, so I'd be inclined to think that Wood will be the player.
Well, I suppose, Peter and Bob, that the Bombers would be the hottest favourites in a grand final we've known for many, many years.
Possibly since Richmond in '74.
That's right. And, of course, as Bob explained before, a grand final match is different to any other game, and we know the makeup of the Hawthorn football side. They'll go down fighting if they do lose this match, and it wouldn't be surprised if they did win it.
All right, a number of players out there that we certainly will be keeping our eyes on this afternoon. We'll get some comments from you, Bob Skilton.
Yes, well, naturally, Rod Lester-Smith, the former Western Australian, has had a wonderful season for Hawthorn and did a pretty good job in voting in the Brownlow medal. Calm, cool and collected, and usually uses the ball very well. So Rod Lester-Smith will be a player to watch in this game. Lester-Smith at half-back. Dermot Brereton may not play centre-half forward if Chris Mew, as suggested, might go to there, but Dermot Brereton, when he's hot, and Brereton is a real key to the Hawthorn side. When he fires, so too to the Hawks, and number 23 for Hawthorn could make a vital difference to this game. Anybody who plays in centre-half forward is playing in one of the tougher positions in the league. We mentioned Chris Mew because it is rumoured that he might play at centre-half forward, but I would doubt it. I think he'll be either centre-half back or full-back, and Mew is one of the best full-backs in VFL football. Whether he's at centre-half back or full-back, he's got a big task. Salmon of Essendon or